I stood at the grand gates of the Hawthorne estate, my heart pounding like a drum. The towering trees loomed overhead, their shadows dancing in the late afternoon sun. I took a deep breath, a mix of excitement and dread swirling inside me. "What am I getting into?" I whispered under my breath. Today, I would meet Alaric, my new employer. As I stepped through the gates, the sprawling garden came into view, blooming with colors that seemed almost too vibrant for reality. But all I could think about was the man I was about to meet. Would he be kind? Would he be harsh? I shook my head, trying to clear the thoughts that clouded my mind. And then I saw him. Alaric stood by the fountain, his back turned to me. The moment he turned around, time seemed to stop. His deep-set eyes locked onto mine, and I felt a spark that sent chills down my spine. "Hello," he said, his voice smooth yet tinged with something darker. I swallowed hard, reminding myself that I was here to care for his daughter Poppy, not to get lost in the depths of his gaze. As I settled into my role, I quickly learned that caring for Poppy wasn't just about playtime and snacks. It was about navigating the complex world of her father, a man whose charm was often clouded by an unseen sadness. I watched him interact with her, a smile dancing on his lips, yet his eyes held a storm of emotions. Could I really allow myself to feel anything for him? The question loomed in my mind like a dark cloud. Was it wise to become attached to a man with a troubled past? I pushed the thought away, focusing on Poppy's laughter, but every time Alaric walked into the room, I felt that spark again, stronger and more dangerous than before. What was I getting myself into? As the days passed, my time with Alaric and Poppy grew more comfortable. I found myself laughing more often, sharing jokes and light moments that made the heavy air between us feel a little lighter. Each smile from Alaric sent a flutter through my chest, and I could see the hint of warmth in his eyes as well. One afternoon, while we were watching Poppy play in the garden, Alaric turned to me. "Do you believe in second chances?" he asked, his voice softer than usual. I looked at him, surprised by the question. The sadness in his eyes was deep, and I felt a strong urge to know more. I nodded, trying to keep the conversation going. "I think everyone deserves a chance to heal," I replied. Our eyes locked for a moment, and I could feel the connection between us growing stronger. As we continued to talk, I learned about Alaric's past, the love he had lost and the pain that still lingered. His words painted a picture of a man who had loved deeply and lost everything. I wanted to reach out and comfort him, but I hesitated. I knew I had to keep things professional, yet my heart pulled me in another direction. Poppy, with her playful spirit, often brought us together. She would run between us, giggling and demanding our attention. Those moments of joy became our shared refuge, a bond that tied us closer. I found myself smiling at Alaric, and in those fleeting moments, I could see the walls around him begin to crack. Yet as much as I enjoyed our growing connection, I felt a storm brewing inside me. My feelings for Alaric were growing, but so was my fear of crossing boundaries. Could I really let myself fall for someone with so much pain? I wrestled with these thoughts, torn between my heart and my mind. The storm hit unexpectedly, dark clouds rolling in and the wind howling outside the Hawthorne estate. Poppy and I rushed inside, giggling as we escaped the rain. I felt a strange mix of excitement and anxiety as the world outside grew wild. With Poppy playing with her toys, I found myself alone with Alaric in the cozy living room. The atmosphere felt charged, almost electric, as we shared this quiet space. As the rain poured, Alaric sat down next to me, his expression serious. I could see the worry lines on his face, and my heart ached for him. "Eluen," he began, his voice low. "There is something I need to share." Oh, I held my breath, feeling the weight of his words in the air. He opened up about his late wife, revealing his pain and regrets. I listened closely, wanting to comfort him. He talked about their love, the laughter and the sorrow that followed her loss. Each word he spoke peeled back layers of his heart, showing me the man beneath the charm, the man who carried so much hurt. As he shared, I felt an overwhelming urge to reach out and hold his hand, to let him know he was not alone. The silence between us grew thick with unspoken feelings. I could feel the chemistry between us, almost pushing us together. I wanted to tell him that I was here for him, but the fear of crossing that line held me back. Later that evening, we attended a dinner party with a few close friends. The laughter and chatter around us faded into the background as I caught Alaric's eye. In that moment, something shifted, and our feelings surged to the surface. A chance brush of our hands sparked something reckless within me. I leaned in closer, and before I knew it, our lips met in a kiss that took us both by surprise. In that instant, everything changed. My heart raced, and confusion washed over me as we pulled away, both shocked by the intensity of what had just happened. I felt exhilarated, yet terrified, unsure of how to navigate the emotions swirling between us. After the kiss, I felt like I was walking on a tightrope, balancing between excitement and fear. I wanted to forget the moment, but it lingered in my mind like an echo. I focused on Poppy, trying to keep my heart from racing every time I saw Alaric. I did my best to keep things normal, but the air between us felt heavy, filled with unspoken words. Alaric seemed different too. He was more distant than before, and the house felt tense. I could sense the weight of our silence, and it made everything uncomfortable. We exchanged polite smiles, but there was an underlying sadness in his eyes that made my heart ache. I hated that we were both avoiding what had happened. One day, while I played with Poppy in the garden, I overheard Alaric talking on the phone. He mentioned plans to move away, and my heart sank. Panic gripped me as I realized I might lose him. I felt a desperate need to confront my feelings before it was too late. What if I never got the chance to tell him how I felt? Just when I thought all hope was lost, Poppy came running to me with a letter in her small hands. "Look, Elowen, it's for you!" she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. I opened the letter with trembling hands, and my breath caught in my throat. It was from Alaric, revealing his true feelings for me. Hope flooded my heart as I read his words. He felt the same way, but was afraid of the past. I understood now that I had to take a step forward. I couldn't let fear hold me back any longer. Poppy, in her innocent way, had given me the push I needed to confront Alaric and embrace the emotions we both tried to hide. With the letter still in my hands, I felt a mix of courage and fear. I knew I had to find Alaric and speak my heart. I took a deep breath, my heart racing as I walked through the hall. Each step felt heavy, but I couldn't turn back now. When I reached the balcony, I saw Alaric standing there, staring into the distance. The moonlight made him look even more handsome, but I could see the worry in his eyes. I took a moment to gather my thoughts, feeling the words I wanted to say swirl in my mind. "Alaric," I said softly, and he turned to me, surprise flashing across his face. "I need to talk to you." He nodded, and I felt a rush of determination. "I read your letter. I understand now. You're scared just like I am, but I don't want you to leave. I want us to face this together." He looked taken aback, and I could see his mind racing. "Elowen, he started, but I cut him off, needing him to hear me. "I know your past hurts you. I see it in your eyes. But I feel something real between us. I don't want to hide anymore." My voice trembled with honesty. For a moment, silence hung between us, thick with unspoken feelings. Then Alaric stepped closer, his eyes searching mine. "You are so brave," he said, his voice low. "I never expected you to feel this way." I felt my heart leap. "I want to be with you, Alaric. I want to help you heal. We can find a way." He reached out, taking my hand. "You make me want to try," he admitted. And in that moment, I felt a spark of hope. Together we acknowledged our fears, but we also embraced the idea that love would require us to take risks. Under the stars, we stood together, ready to face whatever came next. With our feelings finally out in the open, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. Alaric and I began to navigate the new path of our relationship, taking small steps towards a future together. Each day we faced our fears, but it felt easier knowing we were in this together. Poppy, with her bright smile and playful spirit, became a light in our lives. She seemed to sense the change between Alaric and me. Her laughter filled the rooms, bringing joy to our home. I watched as Alaric played with her, and I could see the shadows of his past start to fade. He was allowing me to be a part of his life, and it felt wonderful. One afternoon, while we were all in the garden, Poppy ran up to me, holding a bouquet of wildflowers. "Look, Elowen, they are for you and Daddy," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with happiness. I felt my heart swell. In that moment, I realized how important our little family had become. As days turned into weeks, Alaric began to open up more. He shared stories of his late wife, but now there was a softness in his voice, a sign that he was healing. I listened, offering my support, and he seemed grateful for my presence. I felt a sense of belonging growing inside me. Our love story was not just about passion, it was about healing and acceptance. We were learning to trust each other, and I knew that together we could face whatever challenges lay ahead. Under the stars, I felt hopeful. Alaric and I were building something beautiful. Each moment, each shared laugh brought us closer. I believed that love could truly mend broken hearts, and I was ready to embrace the journey with him. As Alaric and I stood side by side, we could feel our bond growing stronger. Each challenge we faced brought us closer. We learned how to balance our roles as parents and partners, creating a loving home for Poppy. I saw the way her eyes lit up when she saw us together, and it filled my heart with joy. We spent our days filled with laughter and love. Mornings were busy with breakfast and getting Poppy ready for the day. Afternoons were for playing in the garden, where we would all chase each other and enjoy the sunshine. Alaric would lift Poppy high into the air, and her giggles would ring out like music. In those moments, I felt like we were a real family. One evening, after a day of fun, we sat together on the porch. The sky was painted with shades of pink and orange as the sun set. Alaric turned to me, his eyes serious but soft. "Elowen," he said, "I want you to know how much you mean to me and to Poppy. I am ready to commit to this family." My heart raced at his words. Alaric took my hand, squeezing it gently. "You have brought light back into our lives. I want to build a future with you." Tears of happiness filled my eyes. I felt a wave of warmth and love wash over me. We shared a quiet moment, looking at the stars beginning to twinkle above us. I realized that we were ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. With love, resilience, and understanding, we would face the future together. I smiled at Alaric, knowing that this was just the beginning of our beautiful journey. Share this story if you believe that love can conquer even the toughest challenges. Leave a comment about how an unexpected moment has changed your life, and subscribe for more heartwarming stories like this.